All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. John McPhee, and welcome to episode number 1 of our live health show. Those of you who may have joined us last week, I attempted to do episode number 1, and I ran into a bunch of technical difficulties. So I thought, you know what? Let's hit the big restart button, the big do-over button, and so I thought, let's do that. And I brought you into my home because the Wi-Fi was the major issue. And so until we get that sorted at the office, I thought, why not bring you into my home? And I'm going to continue to share with you some really helpful tips on how to be healthier. And today we're going to dive into really a remarkable story and about some research. And it's all about one characteristic that can literally add years to your life. And I don't just mean crappy years. I mean actual quality years to your life. In fact, this one trait in this particular research study was shown to add as much as 10 years to the lives of the subjects involved in the study. So I'm really excited to share that story with you. It may sound a little bit too good to be true, but when I dive into it, I think it's going to make a lot of sense to you. Before I do that, though, I wanted to just give you a bit of an overview because this is episode number 1. I thought, you know what, why not share with you a bit of the vision for the show and give you an idea, because one thing I'm going to ask you to help me with, maybe when you get a better understanding of the show itself, is I'd like some help with the actually naming the show. We're actually struggling. We've hit a bit of a blank spot on getting a name for the show, and so if you have any bright ideas, I'd love for you to comment below. And in fact, even if you're watching this live, if you're joining us on the live feed, in fact, I'm going to go ahead right now, and I'm just going to share this on on my page. And really, the goal here with the show is the ultimate goal is to make sure that you're gaining lots of simple tips and strategies to help improve your health. It's really about strategies that I found to be useful in my own life and things that I think will you can easily put into practice for yourself. These are great tips and strategies that you can apply to your family and also to yourself. So I have some notes along here. I would like to make sure I stick as close as I can to the topic. So if you see my eyes venturing away from the lens, that's what I'm doing. I'm just making sure I'm staying on track. So as I mentioned, we're looking for a show name. So if you can help me with that as we go along, and if any bright ideas come up, I'd love for you to just put those in the comments below. And also, I'd just like for you to, if you can hear me, because we had some technical difficulties, so I'd just like for you to hit the like button there if you can hear me, if you can see me, if particularly if the actual image is clear. That's a really important thing. I want to make sure that this looks good. So if you can just hit the like button, that'll let me know that, okay, I'm actually achieving at least one of the goals for tonight is just to get through a session without any technical issues. And to give you kind of, for myself when I sat down to put together. Okay, so we just had our first drop in the feed. So if you're watching this on the replay, you'll just notice there'll be a little bit of a chop there. So I've made myself a couple of guidelines or rules, and I thought, why don't I share those with you so that you can help to hold me accountable, okay? And really there's just 3 rules. Number 1 is that this needs to be interesting. These shows need to be interesting. And what I mean by that is I want to avoid the boring factor. I've been known, I'm certainly a geek at heart and a health geek in particular. And so I can nerd out a lot on the details. And for a lot of people that can just like go over your head, or maybe it's just not what you're interested in. So at any point, if you're watching this either replay or live and I'm starting to lose you, if you're getting a little bit bored, just put that in the comments. That'll help to pull me back on track. Rule number 2 is that I want my explanation to be logical. So all of these tips and strategies, I want them to make sense to you. And so that's a big value for me, is to make sure that my communication is really is clear. If that's the case, if you're finding that there's a challenge in understanding, please put the comments below. Hey, I don't get that, or can you go over that again? And I'm happy to jump on another video subsequent to any of these and make sure that we can actually explain what I'm talking about. And number 3, though, I think the most important thing is that this needs to be useful information. So my goal is with every show, which is going to happen Thursdays at 7 p.m., so every Thursday at 7 p.m., my goal is to provide you at least one useful tip or strategy that you can apply in your life immediately to make it better, okay? And that's really to improve your health overall, and also overarching theme is going to be to improve your happiness, because ultimately I think that's really the end in life that we should be seeking. Is we want to be achieving happiness, and we're going to talk about that a bit more today. So be sure to give me lots of feedback. That's really the key thing. That's what Facebook Live is great for that. So just use the like button, the share button, the comment button. That'll give me lots of feedback so I can make these better and better. And so, to bring us to today's topic, I really, I think this idea of extending your life, it's a big topic right now. There's lots of programs out there, books, strategies on how to add years to your life, and more importantly, add quality years to your life. And I wanted to share with you this one particular story. Actually, about 15 years ago, a group of researchers stumbled across this amazing gold mine of data. And what they found was that there was one characteristic amongst this group that they were studying, that if those people demonstrated that characteristic, they tended to live longer. And in particular, they lived longer than anyone who didn't demonstrate this characteristic. So I'm interested to know, even before I get into it, if anyone can make a guess of what this characteristic is, or behavior even, if you want to think of it that way. So if you just put a comment below if you think that you know what this might be. And so these researchers, they actually found, it was from the 1930s and 40s, they found that autobiographical journals of a bunch of nuns, actually over 200 nuns. They found samples where these nuns, as an entry requirement into the convent they were trying to get into, they needed to write about a 2,000 to 3,000 word autobiography of what they'd achieved in life so far, what brought them to that point of wanting to enter into to become a nun. And so there was some really rich information, and what the researchers, really clever researchers, they're social psychologist researchers, so they're trying to figure out what motivates people. And one thing that they stumbled upon was that they noticed that there was a real difference in the type of writing and the types of languages that these nuns used in terms of describing their experiences. And what they found out was that they started to categorize the writings of the nuns into different levels of cheerfulness or happiness factor, and they broke it into really 4 different groups. Now, to back up a step, the real value of looking at this particular population and looking at nuns is that they live a very similar lifestyle. That's always a big challenge when we're looking at big population-based studies, is that people tend to live varied lives. And so if we're looking at, whether it's, their activity levels or their diet, or whether they smoked or not, or whether they drank or not, those kinds of things, those are often really difficult factors to tease out when it comes to general population. But nuns is great because they actually live a very similar lifestyle. They all live in the same place, they eat the same food, they get about the same amount of activity levels, they go to bed at the same time, they get up at the same time. They have the similar degrees of practice in terms of introspection, and so there's a lot of these variables that would otherwise compound that have been removed. And so what they found was that, and I guess the other thing that was really valuable about this particular population, because this data was from the 30s and 40s, a lot of these nuns had either already died or were at the end of life. And so they were able to draw these really, I think, quite stark conclusions on the variables that allowed certain nuns to live longer than others. And what they found was that happiness in general seemed to add a significant quantity of years to the lives of those that had the most happiness. So that when they analyzed their journals, and the ones who fell into the top group, they tended to live on average 10 years longer than those who fell into the lowest happiness group. Okay, so they broke it into 4 groups. So a couple of other things that they found, which was I thought was really fascinating. By the age of 80, okay, so as the average age of these nuns, by the time they reached the age of 80, about 80% of those who had reached the age of 80, in the happiness group, they actually were still living, whereas only, let me see if I get my stats right here, 54% of the other nuns were still alive. And actually 54% of the happy nuns reached the age of 94, which was at the last cutoff of the study, while only about 15% of the other nuns actually achieved that age. So the conclusions they drew is that it appears that those people who approach life with a very a positive mindset and actually seek out those things that make them happiest, those people tend to live longer. And it was always risky to draw too broad conclusions from one particular research study, but this study actually provides a very robust sample size, like lots of subjects, and there's a very clear delineation. And so we can actually say with some confidence that happiness seems to add quality years to your life. And the more you focus on creating happiness in your own life, it makes sense then that certainly better quality life that you're going to live, and based on this study, the longer you're going to live, which I thought was really fascinating. Now, I will give credit. This story I did get from an author, actually a Canadian author, Anil Pasricha is his name, and he wrote a book called The Book of Awesome, and he has a new book out called The Happiness Equation. Highly recommend that book. A really excellent author. He also has a blog called 1,000 Awesome Things, so definitely check his stuff out. I'll actually, in a comment, once I'm done here, I'll add that below so that you can follow up with him, because that's where I originally got this story and also this connection between happiness. And so one thing I'd like to just kind of interpret this a little bit more is that I certainly believe in something that we teach in Think by Design, which is a portion of the Life by Design model, and that's really a model for healthy living. Just really, if you're looking for a set of strategies to help you live a healthier life, then Life by Design is an excellent blueprint for that. Now, one thing that we teach is that really the ultimate pursuit in life is your own happiness. And when I say happiness, I mean the actual, true, deeply rooted happiness, not short-term, excitement that you get when you get a new toy or all those things do contribute to your happiness. But I mean, when you feel fulfilled and you have you're on purpose and you're actually fulfilling what you feel is to be your purpose and vision in life. That is true happiness, in my opinion, and I believe that is the ultimate pursuit in life. I believe that that's really the ultimate purpose, is to create true happiness. This is something that I've personally struggled with. It's something that I think we're all in a bit of a constant battle, because our attention is drawn in so many different directions. It's very easy to get focused on the short term and really focused on short-term pleasure over long-term happiness. It's something that I feel pull all the time. Everything from spending endless hours on Facebook, sifting through the my friends' feeds and seeing what everyone else is doing, to procrastinating, binge watching on Netflix and doing things that I know they give me that short-term satisfaction, but they're really not moving me toward ultimately achieving my purpose in life, which is to help individuals like you live an extraordinary life. So when it comes to your own happiness, I think one of the easiest first steps is to really just bring attention to the things that are already in your life that make you happy. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to extend a challenge to you, and that's that, for the next 30 days, what I want you to do is every day at the end of the day, so set a time, 8 p.m. every day, you're going to sit down and you're going to spend 5 minutes, and I want you to think of at least one thing that occurred in that day that brought you true happiness. Okay, and that could be something as simple as the 10 minutes that you got a chance to sit down and read a novel, or it could be something more significant like a big achievement at work, or perhaps a performance at the gym, or something. Maybe for me, as an example, today I was able to get up into Gatineau Park, which is a local park here, and I had an awesome trail run, and that's something that certainly brings me a ton of happiness. And so I'd like for you to take that time, set aside, like I said, it's only takes about 5 minutes. Do it at the end of every day. And actually, I'm going to up the ante a little bit. I'm going to do this for the next 30 days. And I'm going to actually post on our page every day the one thing that brought me true happiness that day. And I'd actually encourage you to come check our page out, post below, so you can just follow along. It doesn't matter if we're on the same day or not, if you're watching this video once it's been posted, so when it's not live. You start your own 30 days, there's no rules. Just take the time to actually think back and really look at the past 24 hours and what has brought you happiness. So I think that's really a simple action step and something that can really draw your attention to those things already in your life. And from there, you can actually start to do more of those things. Okay, and that's really the ultimate goal, is to fill your life with all things that move you toward the pursuit of your true happiness. So that's it. That's all I really want to talk about today. So I really appreciate you guys listening, and for all the comments and the likes. And I think over the next several weeks, I'd love to get your feedback. So if there's anything that you'd like to learn about, if there's any questions that are burning about that you'd like answered, by all means, just comment below, and I'm happy to address those in a future show. Like I said, this will be happening every Thursday, so I will be back on in 2 days at 7 p.m. And so I'll actually be posting up the topic as we come closer to that. So I'm really excited to see you guys join me on the next show. Until then, have a great night, and I hope to see you soon.